You do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know.
Boxing experts agree that Jake Paul stands little to no chance against Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Shakur Stevenson explained that although Jake holds a clear size advantage, it won't be enough to overcome Tank's elite skill and experience. According to Stevenson, Davis will likely avoid chasing a knockout, recognizing Jake's size and durability, but will school him in the ring with pure boxing ability, securing a dominant win by decision.
Difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just going to go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. He's been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out. Nah.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
No.
Obviously, no?
Hell no. Nah, I ain't really like... I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Showbiz The Adult pointed out that Gervonta "Tank" Davis has already proven his ability to handle taller and stronger opponents, citing his dominant victory over Ryan Garcia. He reminded fans that Ryan wasn't just taller, but also faster and more explosive, yet Tank still found his rhythm and defeated him decisively. The YouTuber and analyst argued that if Tank could close the distance against someone like Ryan, who had a legitimate boxing pedigree, then Jake Paul will be no different. While Jake's size may look impressive on paper, Showbiz emphasized that boxing is ultimately about distance control, timing, and ring IQ, areas where Tank truly shines. He added that Tank has mastered the art of reading movement and setting traps, and once Jake steps into the ring with him, those skills will be on full display.
Emotionally, see if he's rattled. See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake, and let me tell you this too. I look at that, them sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach right here. Right, he reached Mario Barrio. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to. So Tank can reach. He knows he's gonna reach. Look, I want to say this. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Baumgartner, shout out to you. I can't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3 minutes, 12 rounds, it's Alicia Baumgartner. And I really know if I have a great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. So, what's her name? Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia. So, that's the perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Baumgartner into elite water. See what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. But let's get back to it. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, what he was just making all these implications I was going to script it. When he said, you're paying me, then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra. He said that this was scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking sub him on everything for me. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Chris Algieri praised Gervonta Tank Davis for his unmatched ability to draw massive attention every time he fights. According to Algieri, modern boxing isn't just about skill, it's also about who can captivate fans and bring energy back to the arenas. In his view, Tank has become the face of that new era, igniting excitement with every appearance and engaging both hardcore boxing fans and casual viewers alike. Algieri also acknowledged Jake Paul's impact, noting that while he may lack Tank's technical prowess, he's played a crucial role in reviving mainstream interest in the sport. Jake's involvement has attracted a fresh audience, people who might never have watched boxing otherwise. Ultimately, Algieri believes both fighters are valuable to boxing in their own way, each drawing attention from distinct but important fan bases.
About the face of boxing could be Jake Paul soon. And the face of boxing is basically... the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
These are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate. It's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set, and all over your phone, and all over everything. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about the shoe.
Charleston White dismissed Jake Paul's boxing career as pure entertainment masquerading as sport. He argued that none of Jake's bouts have carried the authenticity of true professional contests, calling them carefully staged exhibitions designed to generate views and money rather than prove skill. According to White, Jake has yet to face a legitimate top-tier boxer who could truly test his abilities and endurance. His comments echo the sentiment of many boxing purists who see Jake as exploiting the sport, using boxing as a marketing platform rather than mastering it as a craft. White believes that if Jake ever steps into the ring with someone like Gervonta Tank Davis, the gap in talent will be exposed immediately. Davis's elite training, reflexes, and experience against world champions would highlight Jake's lack of depth. As Charleston put it, popularity and hype can't build a legacy, real fights do.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him. And with these 12-ounce gloves on top of Gervonta Davis's hands, which is bigger, 2 ounces bigger, I do believe.
Teddy Atlas, one of boxing's most respected analysts, compared the potential matchup between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis to when Jake's brother Logan faced Floyd Mayweather. He explained that while Jake may possess the physical advantage, it's Tank's experience that will ultimately determine the outcome. Atlas described Tank as a dancer, a fighter who dictates rhythm, pace, and energy inside the ring. Throughout his career, Tank has faced dangerous opponents and developed the instincts to break down anyone, no matter their size or build. Jake, however, still lacks the sharpness and ring IQ required to survive at that elite level. According to Atlas, boxing isn't about size or muscle, it's about precision, control, and purpose. When Tank moves, every step is calculated. Every punch has intent.
So I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha. He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air?
Showbiz The Adult also weighed in on Gervonta "Tank" Davis's personality outside the ring. He acknowledged that Tank might not be the most polished speaker or savvy businessman, but emphasized that none of that defines his danger, Tank's confidence, he explained. Comey's from his roots growing up in an environment that demanded toughness, not talk. Showbiz noted that Tank's body language during press conferences says everything. He never appears intimidated, pressured, or out of control. When he stands across from an opponent, there's a quiet, powerful energy that speaks louder than words. While Jake Paul excels at promoting fights and leveraging media attention, Showbiz pointed out that Tank's aura doesn't depend on marketing. It's built on authenticity, presence, and the respect he commands without ever needing to sell it.
Tank Davis is a violent human. He's a savage. And he didn't feel it. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. From the hood, it's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business. He's going to be so out of his element. He's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like I'm gonna whoop your ass, I'm gonna beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had clowns coming out.
Not everyone is convinced that Gervonta "Tank" Davis could beat Jake Paul. Some analysts urge fans to stay realistic and acknowledge that weight classes exist for a reason. They argue that while Tank's power and explosiveness are unmatched at lightweight and super featherweight, stepping up against a naturally heavier fighter like Jake Paul presents an entirely different challenge. Boxing, they remind, is a sport governed by physics. A 135-pound fighter moving up to face someone who walks around above 190 pounds faces major disadvantages in reach, strength, and durability. These analysts suggest that Tank's trademark power may not translate against a much larger opponent. Even clean shots might not carry the same impact when absorbed by someone of Jake's size and frame.
All of a sudden, we want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis,
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying. He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once. No. He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time, being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out. Because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30-pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake and Tank.
Not everyone is convinced that Gervonta "Tank" Davis could beat Jake Paul. Some analysts urge fans to stay realistic and acknowledge that weight classes exist for a reason. They argue that while Tank's power and explosiveness are unmatched at lightweight and super featherweight, stepping up against a naturally heavier fighter like Jake Paul presents an entirely different challenge. Boxing, they remind, is a sport governed by physics. A 135-pound fighter moving up to face someone who walks around above 190 pounds faces major disadvantages in reach, strength, and durability. These analysts suggest that Tank's trademark power may not translate against a much larger opponent. Even clean shots might not carry the same impact when absorbed by someone of Jake's size and frame.
A lot of people said, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. A lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Or Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey, if he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The Warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.